Hi, welcome one more episode of Zindagi Ka Safar. And normally, when you are looking at school and we're looking at school friend, one of them has joined me today, Projal Maitra. And the last couple of years of our school was very interesting because I think we finally, after staying in Nagpur, Maharashtra, uh, we little bit our parents ensured that we got little bit back to our culture, at least the language which was there. So we had taken. Bengali as our third language, and that classes used to happen after our school hours. So after 3:30 to 4:30. But even after doing that, we guys all used to be sitting in the staircase here, as we are sitting here after so many years, and then we'll chat for some time, and then we'll see. Oh, matlab, abhi to, uh, it will be pretty dark and all, and then we left for our homes and all. And fortunately, since it was extra class, we could always say कि teacher ने ज़्यादा पढ़ा दिया and all. So though she will only take for 45 minutes to 1 hour, which is there. So to talk about this and so many other things, so one more time, welcome Projal. So let's hear about your Zindagi Ka Safars. So let's start with the school where we had spent so much wonderful time and we had great memories there.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Tuhin. I wonder where you got that picture from. It's a school and very surprising picture. I see myself on the right hand side, maybe your left hand side, and I
Yeah.
see you on your right hand side. That is my left hand side.
Yes.
Wonderful, man. I mean, I wish I had your eye. Excellent. No, no, thank you very much, Tuhin, and I'm very glad that we are talking after such a long time. Uh, well, Zindagi Ka Safar, it's that famous song, Zindagi Ka Safar, Kaise.
Hmm.
So, I am born and brought up in Nagpur, actually.
Oh, lovely.
Although, yeah, I was born in Nagpur. And this was very, I think, when my mother finally, kind of brought me into this world,
Hmm.
I was surrounded by people who were friends.
Oh.
At least my very close knit friends
Hmm.
and family friends, I would say, people who really were very close to us, because my father was a doctor,
Hmm.
and he was in the railways, and
Hmm.
the hospital which I was born, my father worked in it, actually.
Okay. Okay.
It was my father's hospital. so so he had when and he was an anesthetist.
Hmm.
Our Dr. Sam Neeraj Jindal has my
Okay.
father's profession. He's an anesthetist,
Hmm.
and I hear that when I was born, there were the sisters and the doctors around. Everybody I met, I know them very well, and so when I came into this world, I was surrounded by friends, and I think the best thing about life is to have friends, to be surrounded by friends, and that's the beauty of life, I think. So, I used to stay in a place called Guardlines.
Hmm.
I recently came to know that Guardlines actually is a very historical colony. It
Oh.
was a colony that was established, a staying place for the railways,
Hmm.
which was probably when the Bengal Nagpur Railway started.
Hmm.
That's the place which was set up to
Hmm.
have all the railway. It was a big railway junction,
Hmm.
and we had a wonderful house there. I can never forget my house. I've spent my full childhood there.
Hmm.
Uh, it was a old English bungalow
Hmm.
with proper, tiles, the kavelu that you call.
Hmm.
We had two large external tanks,
Wow.
which, very difficult to believe, but we learned our first swimming lessons there. We had all kind. My father had an extremely green hand,
Hmm.
and he had all kinds of plants there. He was fantastic. I think my father and mother were absolutely had green hands. Like we had mango trees, plenty of them. We had
Hmm.
kala jamun. I don't know what you call them, blueberries, and not blueberries. I think
Blackberries?
the kala jamun tree, the
Hmm.
tree. We had jackfruit tree. We
Oh.
had ganna. I mean, you name it, anar. neem. Even we had teak plants in our home.
Wow.
My father actually put a few teak plants. A few years back, I actually went and saw my house, and I saw all the trees, and I used to love, sitting in the trees and I used to tell my mother I'm going studying there, but actually I was never studying. I was just lazing around on the trees. And I was so nice to see that most of the trees that my father had put in had actually grown to be very, very tall. Like the teak trees are huge now. And the signature, I think, of our house was we had three Krishnachuda Gulmohar trees, which really during the summer it used to be all red in the front. So I have wonderful memories of my childhood, and we had a huge lawn and surrounding area, and it's difficult to believe, but in our house we actually had cows, goats, murgi, hen, poultry. Then we had a dog, and I still remember we had a very aggressive. He was that breed of roosters are from Chhindwara. They are very aggressive. So our dog used to actually fear that. So I had a wonderful childhood. But then school, I joined. Actually, my first school was Bishop Cotton School. I spent a year there. Okay. And then in class 1, I came to St. Francis de Sales. A wonderful time. I think it was some of the best times I spent in my life. And just to talk about school, I mean, it was, of course, I stayed right from class 1 to class 10 in school. And in school, I think we had the basic learning of, how to, it actually made us what we are today. It gave us character of what we are today. I think, we don't realize it, but that 150, 160-year-old history, that whole, atmosphere that kind of seeps within you, those hugely dedicated teachers, fathers. I mean, I just, I can never, I think both, every one of us who has passed of St. Francis de Sales, Nagpur, SFS Nagpur, I think it was established in what, 1868?
Yes.
1868, I think. It's a very old school, and I have great friends like you and everyone, which is fantastic. So school journey has been extremely, I think, wonderful. A lot of good things, lot of things that now you can sit back and laugh at. Yeah, I think it was so. While in school, as I said, I passed out of 10th, and then I joined Hislop College. Hislop College, I took I was there for 2 years. School was a boys' school, you know how it was, right? The only time we interacted with girls was when St. Joseph's Convent students used to come to our auditorium to perform plays and all.
Yeah.
And that was our only touch with a co-education, situation.
Yes.
And then, and then when we landed up in college, Hislop College was a fashion show for me. I mean, it was like, I remember that cliche dad, we also make steel. Hislop College was okay, we also study, and that was our first sense of freedom from the strict and very close care of our teachers, fathers.
Catholic system of education.
The Catholic system of education, and really a school which was very, very strict and really fun. of course, then I moved on. Hislop College was very good. I landed up there. Then I did my engineering. I actually stepped out of Nagpur at the age of, I think I was a strapping 17-year-old lad who finally stepped out of home. And I'm still, and my mother was not very sure whether I could, rather manage. I mean, what's
Survive.
this guy going to do?
Survive
How
without
will he
the
survive?
machar bhat and all. How do you survive without?
Absolutely, but I did. I did survive, and finally I got my degree. I became a engineer with an engineer chap on my back. And then again, it was like, how will this guy manage? And then I managed to get a job, and I think we did pretty well.
And so when you got the job, did you move to Delhi directly, or was there some other places where initially you had posting and then you moved to Delhi?
Oh, my my first job out of college was, again, talking, I'll just step back, and this school business, I think we'll touch upon school more and more as we go through this discussion. And everywhere the school thing comes. So in school, we were actually, I think, without even us knowing, we were trained in facing situations.
Yeah.
Situations which were happy, situations which were fantastic, situations which were like, painful. Because ours was a Jesuit Catholic school. So you had, they firmly believed in that adage, spare the rod and spoil the child. So, our fathers used to have those long canes with red ends, the red, which put discipline into us pretty strongly. And I think, everything we actually got the way to face things with confidence. I think it was in school that we actually learned to conquer fear, which I think is very important in life. Take up challenges, not run away from challenges. Like, I mean, so my first job was actually, I'm sure you've seen the movie Forrest Gump, right?
Yes.
Where Tom Hanks sits and there's a feather which flies around. I think a lot of my journey in life has been like that feather.
Okay.
The wind just takes you anywhere you want. So I and my roommate in college, my very, very good friend, Prashant Bhai, we landed up in Pune. Just my brother used to stay there, and we had some, my very good friend's brother also used to stay there in Telco Colony. And we one day, and this Telco Colony was a very, it was an environment. Anybody from my college could land up in Telco Colony and would go into any room and could stay. So I still remember on that morning in Pune, we were driving down the old Bombay Pune road, and my friend was sitting at the back. I was driving the bike, and he said, "Hey, this company, Datapro, it's a good company. You want to go there?" I said, "What are you doing, man?" We almost crossed that, and then he suddenly said, "Chalna, chalna." He poked me and said, "Let's get in." I turned. We went inside. To our surprise, the guard actually said, "Acha, aap aa gaye?" And said, "Aapka kaam?" I said, "Hum interview dene aaye." And I'm like, man, interview dene hai, kya baat kar rahe hai? My friend said interview dene hai, and we went in. I still remember the gentleman's name, Colonel Mutlankar. He actually, came and met us. He said, "Acha, aap interview dene hai, welcome." And we appeared for a written test. And I was like, man, what are we doing? We appeared for the written test. We passed the written test. And we were told, okay, there will be 1 or 2 levels. I think first level was HR. Then we met the CEO of the company, Dr. Soundararajan. I still remember he took a very tough interview of me and my friend, and everything kind of like was surprised. I mean, in the morning we don't even know where we are going, and then in the middle, in the afternoon, we are in an interview, and then I was told that, hey, do you have any preference for posting? And I said, well, no, I don't have any preference for posting. I can be posted anywhere. I've already come out of my house. And they said, well, in our office, there is the Calcutta office regional manager is here. If you want, you can have a meeting with him, and you can join our Calcutta office. You're a Bengali, right? I said, yeah, I'm a Bengali, but I've never stayed in Calcutta anyway. So it just happened that I was interviewed by one of my, I think, my best bosses and mentors, Mr. Amar Singh Sandhu. I actually went into that room expecting a paunchy, bhat khawa type Bengali gentleman heading the Calcutta office. And here was a 6'2" thin Sardar speaking fluent Bengali. I was like, and he took my interview and he said, "ठीक है, join कर लेना." I said, "ठीक है sir, join कर लेंगे." And that's how I landed up in Calcutta actually.
Okay.
And the funny part was again that feather flying. You see, I mean, it couldn't be more. I was actually given a joining date, which was a Sunday, by mistake, and I landed up in the office on Sunday. And I still remember the lady who was in the administration, Mrs. Day. I told her in the end, of all the things in the world, you have to make a mistake for me to join on a Sunday. That was funny. But that was my first job, actually completely by chance. And when we actually returned home to my friend's brother's place in Telco Colony, he said, "और तुम्हारा job दिन कैसा रहा?" I said, "हम हमको नौकरी मिल गया." मतलब क्या? It was very funny. I that was my first job, and again, I think very, very nice time I had in Calcutta for 1 year. I can't say much about the work culture of that city. It was I think a shock for me. It was, again, I found that in Calcutta people work like we also do work. It's more important is adda and having a good life, food, talking about nice clothes, movies. Everybody like one full team having fun, picnics, this, that. Work, well, we'd also do work. So I had a very good time. It was actually that enabled me. I think I am indebted because staying out of Calcutta or staying away from my extended family, that 1 year, I really got to know my own family very well. That was something wonderful that happened. I came to know about the culture of the place. I came to know about at first Calcutta hits you like and especially from guy from Maharashtra, Nagpur and all, you are used to different things, but that place, when you stay there, first hits you with a bang, and then you think, well, what, hot, this, that, mosquitoes. But I tell you, that city has a life, and it's full of life. It is some of the most helpful people around, and it's seeped in history, And again, you should know the right place. And I personally like walking a lot, so I used to walk all over the places in Calcutta. So that was my 1 year, my first year in Calcutta, and then of course I came over to Delhi after 1 year.
Okay. So Delhi, I think again, fortunately, Delhi and the place where you stay is little bit close to the Bengali hub, which is there. Though you are not exactly there, but you are pretty close. So I think you can still have your singhara, and you can still try to get some of the Bengali sweets if you are so missing it out. So
yeah.
So now, from a culture perspective, as you said, Nagpur was one. Now, when you had was in Sangli, which is more of a town kind of town भी बोलोगे, पता नहीं क्या बोलोगे.
Princely state.
Princely
Princely
state,
state.
yes,
Yes.
correct. तो वहां से you move to another princely मतलब city, मतलब where everyone is chilled out, everyone is a prince
Oh,
on their own.
Sangli was beautiful. The college was very nice. Learned a lot
So
of things in college.
Kolkata also had its own culture, and then now Delhi,
Yep.
which is work gets done, but it's got a different vibe about uh, talking, matlab doing less and maybe talking more, or uh, the discussion might be more about how big a bungalow you have and are you on which area are you staying and that kind of bit. What kind of car you have.
Twin, talking about Delhi again, the first time, I'll give you a parallel. The first time I landed in Texas, I expected, those quick gun Muruggans, people in horses with their cowboy hats, gunslingers. And when I landed up in Texas, it was something very different. I mean, I could find no horses there. I could find no. So the idea about the city precedes us a lot. And you correctly said, I stay. I'm fortunate enough to stay very close to the hub of the Bengali colony of Delhi. I mean, 5 minutes from my home, if I go 5 minutes walk or 10 minutes walk from my home, I can reach a place where I can easily converse in Bengali and get away with that area. So it's pretty nice. It's a small city within the city. I think the beauty about Delhi is, and I may have some of my friends not agree with this, but when you go to say Bombay, you become a Bombayite. The Bombay feeling seeps into you, and you become a Bombayite. Your egg anda changes to baida. Your potato aloo changes to batata. You become a Bombayite, and you are. And I love that city. I'm from Maharashtra. Absolute Maharashtra is in my. I mean, I think I was. I still am, I think, a domicile of Maharashtra. I still have that certificate.
You will be. You studied
but
and you
Delhi,
were born there. Correct.
Oh, yeah. Even today, if somebody asks me, where are you from? I say, I'm from Nagpur. And people say, oh, you're from Nagpur? Really? Your name doesn't show that. Technically, I've stayed in Delhi more than I've stayed in Nagpur, but that city is my hometown, always. And so coming back to Delhi lets you be who you are. You don't have to become a Delhiite. You see, there are pockets in Delhi which are absolutely like if you want to have a South Indian flavor, there are places where you can get the best of the South Indian culture. If you want to have the East Indian flavor, best of the Indian culture. If you want the Bihari flavor, you will have the best of the Bihari flavor of the culture. North Indian, Punjabi, Kashmiri. I mean, it's really, pockets of cultures all around. And I think, whoever comes to Delhi, our friends, whoever come to Delhi, have a fixed idea about Delhi first. And I think it's all about, again, that feather flying around. Keep your mind open. Come to Delhi. It's one of the, I can tell you, again, it may sound very, very odd. I have found so helpful people here, surprisingly, because that's not what you expect Delhi to be. When I was new here, my first really, place, because I was associated with the, in Nagpur, my mother used to take me to the Ramakrishna Mission very frequently. I used to love there. The place was nice. In Delhi, that was the place I first went. When I landed up here, that was the place I first went. And Twin, I can tell you, I was walking in there like, big temple. The mission in Nagpur was comparatively small,
Smaller.
very quiet, very quiet. You could see, a lot of, it has an atmosphere, a very quiet atmosphere, very meditative atmosphere. The Delhi mission was somewhat bit different. It was, I think, more the temple was bigger, and I just went there like chalo dekh ke aate types. And I remember the chief Swami there. When he saw, I went and just, acha theek hai, aaye hain to milke jate hain. Oh my God, he kind of, as if I knew him for centuries. And that's how we kind of clicked, and I think it was really so welcoming. Then you know I've had so many friends, so many instances where people have been extremely helpful, and I think it's all about, in a big city you get all flavors, and you know people here are full of life. They know how to enjoy. They have the strong Punjabi, I think that zest for life. Like if they dance, they will dance like this, and if they sing loud, and whatever they do with zest. So I think it's important to understand the culture of that city to really have a good feel about it. So I guess I'm very proud of this place. I think again, there are a lot of, I also personally feel, and that's what really a big city always faces, is scrutiny all the time. And scrutiny is not always a positive scrutiny. I mean, if you have people feeding thousands of people every day, that's not news. But the other things become more news, and especially I think big cities like Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, big cities actually become more focused on, so I think, a bit more of scrutiny. I think it should be more balanced. Yeah, there are. I think it's a culture. It's a loud city. It's faced. Historically, I think Delhi has the ravages that Delhi has faced. I'm not sure if any other city in India has faced that. It was a city unlucky enough to have Genghis Khan come over and kind of, I mean, every person who came here, ravaged the city. So I think, but this city has, love it, hate it, you can't ignore it. And another thing is that anywhere in the world you go, you say you are from Delhi, everybody knows you are from Delhi. You don't have to say, oh, Delhi is in India, it is a place, northern India. No, you're from Delhi. That's it, finished.
Yes. Yeah, that's a big advantage.
I like, yeah. Although by heart, I'm a Maharashtrian, but I love Delhi.
Love Delhi. Because what I have a very similar thing, because mostly when I've come there, I have come for work and all. And work is always for a couple of days, 2-3 days, you finish it, interact with the people and all. But when you're outside interacting with people, it's a very warm thing which is there. And the food is wonderful. You can get any kind of food which is there. It's quite reasonable from any kind
gastronomic, it's a gastronomic heaven. Delhi is a gastronomic
heaven. Any spectrum to any spectrum you can have, from the cheapest till the highest, and all kinds of fancy stuff you can really do. So it's a wonderful thing which is there. So we'll move from, because you spoke about this welcoming culture which is there. And I think now, given that you have worked for nearly 3 decades, 1990 is when you had completed your graduation.
But I still feel I'm in school.
You still feel like you're in school, yes.
I still can remember, Jalil sir kicking me out of the chemistry class for 6 months.
Kya baat kar rahe ho?
Yeah. This was another story, man. I was actually, sitting in class. Jalil sir, as most of the friends would know, he was our chemistry teacher. Very, very serious, very nice person, actually. but I think he had a temper, which I realized later to my chagrin. So I was actually made a turbine with a blade and was putting a pencil in it and just blowing on it, just making it was not a very chalo masti karte class mein, but the class was there and I was just trying to see how that turbine works. It was made with those purane blades, those steel blades. And the beauty about that turbine was if you slipped it out of the pencil, it could lie on your desk without even people knowing what it is. And this was taught to me by my brother, my elder brother, Subrata Mehta. He taught me that. He showed me how to make it and all. So I was doing that in class, and he got a bit disturbed. So I immediately came to know that, boss, we are in trouble. So I made that blade separate, pencil separate. I was a second last or last bencher always because unfortunately,
height-wise.
the height. So Jalil sir came twice, I think twice or thrice he came to see आवाज कहाँ से आ रहा है. And जैसे ही वो चला जाता मैं फिर से वापस. And then somebody squealed on me. And he, took me and he said, okay. And he didn't do anything. He just took me to Father Ivan's office. Father Rossi's office. He was a school principal. Father Rossi said, this is a fantastic invention that you made. I said, no, it is my brother who taught me to do that. But, there is discipline in class. And I have to punish you because of discipline. And I still remember, he said, because of this, you should actually get, I think he said 7 canes on your posterior, but I'll give you only 5. And I had nice 5 whacks. And and Jalil sir actually went to class. And then Father Rossi actually took that pencil. He said, show me what is done. And I showed him how that turbine kind of, he said, good, go back to class. I went to class. Jalil sir looked at me and he said, you're not supposed to come to this class from now on. I said, okay. One day I stood out. Second time also this stood out. Third day also I'm standing out. So I used to sit in class. The first 2-3 days I sat in class, he pointed me and said, go out. So for 6 months, then it became so that Jalil sir ka class matlab main bahar. And this was, I think, in class 7th when we were there, and all the labs were there. And there I found, in adversity, that things come up which are very, very beautiful, because then I went into the biology lab. I saw all the specimens. Our biology lab was fantastic. I don't know if you still remember. I went to the physics lab. I went to the chemistry lab. I mean, incidentally, chemistry was my very favorite subject. I think in 10th, I scored maximum in chemistry. 6 months, I was roaming around in the school in that particular class. Everybody, when teachers and all saw me, they thought I was on some teacher's errands, but I was just walking around. Sometimes I went to the ground to watch play. I used to even play that time because I think we had 45 minutes period?
Yeah, 45 minutes.
And then I used to go to the 3rd floor. You remember where that erstwhile hostel was? I used to go in there. I used to roam around all other classes, canteen, park, this, that, everywhere I used to go. And then after Jalil sir's, I used to walk back to class. And I learned so much. In those classes. Apart from chemistry, I learned everything.
And then scored the highest in 10th. So, which is so learning by wandering. So, which was the perfect
learning
one.
by wandering. I don't know how that happened, but it was fantastic.
Okay, fair enough. I think we'll move to more fun parts which are there. Okay.
Sure.
So the last segment which we are going to be talking about is Ask Me Anything. AMA, Ask Me Anything, or Lazy Round.
I'm game. You're making me nervous, Tuhin.
So I'm trying to do that because, now that given you, you have mentioned already a lot of stuff. So I said, let me also delve a little bit more. So the first one, what is the weirdest thing which you have done as a child?
Weirdest thing I have done as a child. I think I've done quite some weird stuff, So as I said, I was actually, in fact, I do weird stuff even now. I mean, I think I've not grown up. But I mean, when people consider that you are a child, so I would say during those teenage school days and all those kinds of things, um, you know, we used to, as I said, I stayed in a railway colony, guard lines, and the trains were very close to us. We could actually, from our house, we could hear trains coming. So we used to take, those coins and put it on the railway lines. And that 5 paisa would become like or the 2 paisa would become like a 10 paisa, and try to push it off as a 10 paisa to the Gile Bear vendor. The Gile Bear vendor is actually a berry which was steeped in tamarind sauce, and it used to taste sweet, sour. I remember, thinking that the 2 paisa coin could become 10 paisa coin, but then every time that Ganga lady outside our school always got us. No. This is train coin. No, you can't do that. You have to give 10 paisa for that. So I think that was quite a weird one, I would say. And I think plenty of weird stuff. Suddenly
you're missing out on the weird things which are there. But your idea, actually, you should patent and get something out, because many times when you go abroad, you will have all these machines which will be there. So you need to put in
NASA,
that $1,
NASA,
and then it flattens it out and gives it out to you. So,
yeah. I have those. You go to NASA in near Galveston, near Houston. They have those. You put a penny in, and then it. You roll it, and it comes out flat, and then you have a NASA stamped penny or something like that. Yeah, I should have gone there and said, no, this is my idea.
This is my patent.
But no,
why do it there?
This was a very common idea.
Yeah, wait for the railway thing to pass.
No, but everybody near the railway colonies always did this. This
always
was a good pastime to see those steam engines going. I mean, for a long time, I dreamt of only becoming an engine driver, actually, but finally it didn't happen.
Okay, let's move to the next one. So since we have spent 10 years very closely together, so what will be one memory of us which you will want to keep together?
You sure? You're open for that?
I'm very sure. I'm total game for anything, because अभी तो किसी को पता ही नहीं चलता होगा कौन क्या है. So
I'm going to let the cat out of the bag here.
Okay, let's hear that out.
It was me, you, and another chap. I actually forget who that was.
Maybe Santosh?
Ranjit, Biswadeep.
Maybe Santosh or something?
I don't know who it was.
Because Santosh used to hang around quite a lot with me around those days. So
I don't know, Biswadeep, Ranjit, someone, there, I remember. Who,
the third culprit was there.
Yeah, sir. And I remember we went all the way from school to near Ambasari. Okay, 3 of us. And the whole idea was that one of us, I won't name whom, had a huge crush on our English teacher. I think it was 9th or 10th.
Okay.
And when we went out of school, it was like gung ho. Yeah, we'll go to her place. This, that. Somehow, you were very resourceful. You had taken out her address also. So we landed up there. All 3 of us was very gung ho. And then when we reached her place, I think you rang the bell. And me and the other guy just vanished. I mean,
I look back and no one is there.
Both of us had solid cold feet. We just vanished into that Ambasari lake, that forest kind of place. And I don't know what happened after that, Twin. That was something. And I later asked,
you missed out. Man? You missed out on the good tea and samosas which was given to me. So only it was very difficult to explain. Very difficult to explain that from Sadar, how do you land all the way to Ambasari, coming in a cycle, and which will be close to some 10 kilometer plus. And I used to stay in Seminar Hills, so which will be another from Seminar Hills to that place will be some 20 kilometers away. And how did you land up there? That was
Oh
the
my
difficult
goodness.
question to answer. No, we were just going by and we thought, we saw and we thought you were, if this must be your house. And I said, why not say good afternoon, good evening to you?
Oh
So
my goodness. What, man? I can't get it off my head.
this is only boys school can do. The Raj
This
Kapoor
only boys
syndrome can,
schools can do.
yeah, Raj Kapoor syndrome in
मेरा नाम जोकर.
Mera Naam Joker can only happen in a all boys school only. So
Oh yeah, man, yeah.
okay, coming to the next one, what is the worst and the
So by
best?
now everybody must have guessed who had the crush, right?
Now we'll leave it to our viewers to figure out,
Okay.
specifically our friends, who had the crush and who
Yeah,
had the cold feet. So yeah.
yeah.
So what's the worst and the best thing about being a male?
Well, the worst, I'll touch upon the worst thing first.
Okay.
I think when you are a male, I think sometimes you get under pressure of not being able to freely,
Emote?
express your emotions.
Okay.
I think that's probably the worst thing. And uh, when you are on an emotional low, the only things that you hear around is कुछ नहीं होता चलो कोई बात नहीं, that kind of thing, which is
चल दारू पीते हैं.
something I think, yeah, the cliche, it's very cliche. I think people should be given space for being emotional when they need it, rather than say कुछ नहीं होता, some kind of, I think, I think as males we don't handle our emotions very well. That's what probably is the worst thing to be a male.
Yes.
The best thing to be a male is actually, and I've heard it before, is actually being father to two lovely daughters.
I agree.
All the hard work done by the mother.
Mother.
Okay. And then both of them are big buddies of me.
Of
So,
yours. Yeah, they
I
brought only the
just,
father.
like it's a freelance, I just think that's the best thing that can happen for a male.
I agree. I
So
agree with you
that,
totally
yeah.
on that.
Oh yeah, both of us have two daughters,
Yeah,
right?
I also have two daughters. So.
Angel of our eyes.
Yes. And in the same way, for them we are the hero and everything, which is they're rolled in and all. So.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, coming to the next one, if you could meet and spend one day with any person who ever lived, who would it be and why?
Wow.
Lived or living? Yeah, so it does not mean that the person has to be gone up only, but I'm saying born. Any person.
Okay, so I think the person I would live with one day would be Lucy. And that's not Lucille Ball of the TV sitcom. It's actually Lucy who lived, I think, roamed this earth about 3 million years ago. That was I think Lucy is one of the oldest, I think, erect walking man that we have found. Her name was given Lucy, if I'm not wrong, because some of the famous English band, if I'm not wrong, it was some band which had this Lucy song. And that actually had the name Lucy came from there. The discoverers of her fossil or skeleton, whatever it is, named her as Lucy. And this I would like to spend a day with her. We are the dominant species now, Twin. You and I are sitting in a house. I don't think a tiger will come and eat us, or an elephant will come and crush us to death and all. But in Lucy's time, this was very different. We were not the dominant species. We were, strange creatures. Did have four digits, two hands and two legs, but preferred not to use all four of them together. Had a gait which, I think you run faster when you're on force, but this so-called aberration was running on two legs, right? Not very strong. Was not the only thing that Lucy had was a juxtaposed thumb and a bigger cranium or a brain, I think. So I would like to experience what were her thoughts. How did she communicate with the her tribe or her circle? What was her fears? What did she do when she saw a tiger? What did she do when she saw a mammoth or something like that? I don't know what animals probably would have. What would have been her life not to be the dominant species? Always under the fear that someone will come and make a lunch or dinner of her. And I don't know if they had tribes that time, different humans that time who fought against each other. I mean, I would actually, and this is probably my imagination running wild. Probably I'll, if I can take some of the modern gadgets or just my mind of what she would discover, like maybe tell her that, okay, you can make a wheel of this, or you can make an axle of this, or there is a lever which works, or maybe teach her how to light fire. And then I don't know, I mean that must have been, I don't know, I mean I would have loved to spend a day with Lucy.
So I think the fantasy is not only to spend time with her, but also to travel back in time and be there and do that. I think that's a wonderful fantasy which you have. Fortunately, you didn't move far in future and said, okay, let me try to go.
No, you said whoever lived, right?
Yeah, whoever lived. Yes. So, okay,
whoever lived or is living. So
Okay.
the future ones get automatically cancelled.
So, okay.
That's a tough question.
That was the tough one. So maybe this one also might be, but we'll try it out. Would you rather have endless money or endless love? Will you have unlimited love or unlimited money? If that is the choice which you have to make.
So with the cliched opinions about Delhi, I think the easy choice and temptation would always be endless money. But no, I think if you sit down and think, endless love would be much more thing that, I think it's unimaginable. What would be endless love? And that would be utopia, I guess.
Yeah, so I think that's wonderful. So thanks a lot. I think we discussed for around 45 minutes to 50 minutes about so many aspects of your Zindagi Ka Safar, and so many memories, specifically about the school where we had spent so much time together. But I also got to know quite a lot about your other interests, and the same will be of many other people who will be hearing this out. Our friends and maybe your family members. Yeah, so they will also get to know what kind of naughty father. उसको तो हम बड़े सज्जन समझते थे, and ये तो कुछ अलग ही निकला. Yeah. So wonderful. Thanks a lot for taking the time out, and we have been trying to do it for quite some time, and I think external environment has been such that we have not been able to get to a mutually convenient time, but
yes,
good thing we have been able to do it finally.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And to him, thanks a lot. It's a great way to catch up and kind of reminiscence about our great days. And it's fantastic. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's a fantastic thing you're doing and putting everything for everyone to enjoy.
Okay. Chalo, bye. We'll catch
up.
You
take care. Yep. Thanks. Take care.